did a lot of screening, things that we're gonna see, and I just thought it was really a good exercise for us. I think some of the younger players have not adjusted to coming off the bench, being ready to go. With a couple freshmen in there, they both went to the same side on defense twice and gave up 2 open threes. So I mean, I think some of those things are things that, you know, we need to think about. And different this time, you know, we didn't make some of those open threes, and that's gonna happen. You're gonna have games where that happens, where you get 22 good looks and you make 5. There's some games you're gonna make 9 or 10, but, you know, we still gotta continue to get better on the boards. I think getting up and down the court is another thing we still are working on. Knowing when to get it inside, we're still working on some of that stuff. But, you know, there's a lot of things at this stage that, positives, a lot of positives. And, you know, we're going into Friday night, and I think everybody's anxious to play, start the season. And, you know, we've had pretty good preparation to this point, and I think that, you know, we'll be ready to go Friday night.
I know it's only 2 games, but is Raheem showing you any more aggressiveness?
But, you know, I think in spurts, I think he does. I think, you know, day one and him are doing things better in spurts. I thought day one was much better rebounding the ball tonight. I thought he was much more physical going up to get it. I think that was good. I think, you know, that part of it was very good. And, you know, I think overall, I thought we played well. You know, we missed some shots, and I think that's normal at this stage of the season. And when you do miss them, you have to make good defensive plays and make up for it in that way. It's very difficult when you're playing 11 guys to have a really good offensive rhythm. That's pretty hard to do.
Jim, you mentioned his rebounding, but what are some things early on you want to see from day one to make an improvement on?
Yeah, I think he's getting better. He's going to finish down low and, you know, get in position. I think we need to get better at finding him in the right position. All those things.
Coach, does day one, like Coach,
I can hear you.
does he look more controlled underneath the basketball?
I think he's still working on it. I think it's just, you know, he was able to just pretty much turn and make layups in high school because of the size differential, and now there's, you know, bigger guys. He's learning how to get position, how to, you know, make that move. And I think it's, you know, he works hard every day. He's making improvements. Big guys offensively take sometimes 3 years, sometimes the 4th year before they really offensively get to where you'd like to see them.
You mentioned the mistakes by the freshmen defensively. How easily are those issues fixed?
They're all things you gotta work on. We work on them, show them, we'll get there. We'll work on it. I'd like to address one thing. I think that there's something in terms of people's opinions. I think if you have 12 players over a 4-year period and they play for 4 years and only 5 graduate, I think that's an institutional problem. You haven't done a good job with those guys. However, in our case, that's not what happened. We had 6 guys stay out of the 12, 5 graduated. The other 6, a couple for the NBA, a couple they weren't playing enough and transferred. One guy was hurt and just didn't play anymore. So if somebody can explain to me how if 6 guys choose to leave for whatever reason, and I think some of them were good reasons, in that 12-person group. So if somebody can tell me how we're supposed to graduate a guy who leaves, I would love for them to come and tell me that. Explain how we can do that. The 6 guys that stayed the 4 years, we'd like to get all 6 of them to graduate. 5 did, and 1 is still close, and we hope that he will come back to finish. We have 2 seniors now who are ahead of schedule to graduate, and should graduate with 1 or 2 courses the second semester. So we want every player that stays here 4 years to graduate. But some guys want to go to the NBA, some guys want to go and end up playing in Europe. That's their choice. And there's a whole heck of a lot of students that decide to leave here. It's not the school's fault. it's not the coach's fault. Some kids just make that decision, and some of it's transferable, want to play more, and some of it is they want to go play. And those are decisions that kids make. We've had guys leave early and play, we've had several of them come back and graduate. But if someone can explain to me how we could have done something to graduate somebody who wasn't here, then I'd be welcome to, I'd like to hear that. That'd be good information.
Is there a better way that it can be delegated or really delegated?
This has been an argument that's been going on for about 20 years now. There's an obsession that if somebody comes, he should graduate. There's an obsession about it. And some kids, obviously want to play more, so they leave, or they just want to leave and play, like some of those guys. And when they made the decision, prior to leaving, they were fine academically. But some kids, when they make that decision, they just leave, and so they're going to be ineligible because they're not going to finish the coursework and not be able to count in terms of graduation. But that's a decision they have to make, and it's what you do. If everybody stays, our graduation rate is great, but guys just don't stay, and we can't. That's something that I know if somebody had an answer, I'd love to hear.
Hey,
This
Coach.
is different than the APR, right? The APR does, account for a guy that leaves in good standing, right?
Yeah, but it's all boils down, without getting into detail on this, is what in good standing. You can, the guys that we lost APR-wise, where we lost points, were in great state APR-wise until their second semester. And they decide not to finish the semester. Now you're not gonna qualify APR-wise, let alone graduation. So that's, again, it's like last semester we had 2 players who finished, who did their work, finished all the work they needed to, and even though they left and are in the NBA, they didn't count against our APR, and they won't count against our graduation rate because they left eligible. But in some cases, guys would leave and they just don't finish. And if somebody can explain how I can correct that, I'd be happy to listen to.
Hey.
There's not much you can do in those cases.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Good.
Drew Ebanks, On Point Basketball, Toronto, Canada. Here to taking the game today. Pleasure to be here in your presence as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Talk a little bit about Tyler Ennis and what he means. Tonight, 5 assists, leading all
Well,
this year.
he was.
What he means for your team.
Yeah, he's important for our team. I thought, I told him at halftime he's got to be a little more aggressive offensively, and when you tell him something, he does it, which, that's a good trait to have.
What does he mean
I
for
wish
you?
my kids would do that.
What does he mean for the team going forward?
He's a key guy. I mean, he's a mature freshman. He's still a freshman. He's still going to make mistakes. But he understands the position as well as any freshman. And, obviously he's an important guy as we head into this year.
Talk a little bit about your relationship also with Coach Rana from Ryerson and, maybe your knowledge of where Canadian basketball is going.
Well, I thought, obviously we played in Canada this summer and playing Ryerson. I mean, these are well-coached teams. They're guys that obviously we have a higher level of talent, but they're well-coached teams. All the teams that we played in Canada, even the ones that we won by a lot, were very well-coached teams. The ball movement is really good. They're doing all the right things. We just, obviously we have better players. So, but, they're a well-disciplined team, and I thought they did a lot of positive things out there. And the same for the trip to Canada, obviously, this summer. Obviously, we all know Carleton had, 5 seniors, and they won a lot of games. And I don't see too many people beating them up there this year either. So,
And how's your relationship with Coach Rana? Do you guys have any formal ties with USA basketball,
well,
Canada
no,
basketball?
we run into each other. He's been down here in the past, and I think he's an excellent coach. I think he did a great job with that team.
Jim, you mentioned the 2 freshmen when they came in, they ran the same site. Trevor and Tyler don't have much more experience either, but can you talk about how they're doing defensively?
Trevor.
And Tyler. Yeah.
Well, Trevor, I think, has been here 3 years, so this is his 3rd year. And I think as I've said many times in the past, his defense has been fine, you know. He really probably would, he did not play because of his defense, he did not play because he wasn't making shots for the most part. His defense has always been pretty good, I think it's underrated. And I think he's done a really good job there. Tyler Robeson?
No, I'm sorry, Ennis.
Ennis? Well, defensively, I think he's a good player. Obviously, last year we had two exceptional defensive guards, the likes, as good as we've ever had defensively, those two. I mean, at the top of the zone, they're better by far, I'd say better by far than any guards that we've ever had in that position. We've had, you know, good guards, good defensive guards. Lazar Sims comes to mind, and a couple other guys, but certainly as a tandem, you know, Michael and Brandon were two great defensive guards. And, you know, these guys they're learning, they're getting there, they're doing a lot of good things. Jerry's done a tremendous job with them in practice. They work more probably than normal in terms of getting up to speed. And I think that's a good thing. Obviously, it's good to have those frontline guys behind them. They can correct some mistakes. I think Rock's doing a much better job of finding that area and correcting it. You know, I think those are the guards. I think Mike's picking it up. I think Mike does some really good things. I think Ronnie is good defensively. I think that's, you know, good. I think that the other two freshmen, Tyler and Robeson and BJ, they're still trying to figure out the defensive end and get that going.